and welcome back to WEC Icons, a series where we tell you about some of the most beautiful race cars on the planet. And today we're here with Iron Lynx and Mercedes-AMG with their Mercedes-AMG LMGT3. The Silver Arrows have finally returned to the WEC, and what a pleasure it is to have them here with this beautiful car. Let's get into the details and find out some more about this machine. Stefan, welcome to WEC Icons. Thank you so much for joining us. And first things first, would you mind introducing yourself for me, please, and what you do for the team?
I'm Stefan Wendel. I'm head of customer racing at Mercedes-AMG, and I'm in charge of such beautiful products.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car, isn't it? And how about you introduce the car to me as well? What is its full name?
So this beautiful rocket is the Mercedes-AMG LMGT3.
It's just stunning, isn't it? And what have we got going on inside? What engine does it have?
It got an NA aspirated V8 engine, 6.2 liter, and it's made for such beautiful circuits like this in Le Mans.
And do you know what power it has?
Actually, we are running to a certain power level that it's balanced to the competition, but without anything. So we have some other edition running for collectors, like our 130 years edition, which was released last year. And there we got a power output of around 670 horsepower.
And I suppose the same thing will apply when it comes to weight, but how much does the car weigh?
So also here, we are fixed in the regulation. So means we are currently running a weight limit of 1,360 kilo. This is in our current BOP spec, so balance of performance spec. But depending on the spec of the car, we can drop the weight below 1,300 kilo.
And if we get into a few more little specifics, can you tell me maybe what gearbox does it use? What are the brakes made of?
Yeah, sure. So we are running here an Hewland gearbox. The gearbox is a 6-speed gearbox and one rear rod, obviously. This is also based on the regulation for all the competitors the same. And the gearbox ratio is made to fit in very small, tiny circuits all globally, because it's a globally homologated car. But also on such tracks like Le Mans with streets where the car achieves top speeds around 300 kph. Going ahead, so the suspension, for example, is a double wishbone suspension in front and in rear. The dampers coming from our developing partner Multimatic, and all is optimized to fit into the regulations and to the demand of our customers here going into this competition.
And now we've got the physical car behind us. I wonder if you can talk me through perhaps some of the aero choices on the car, because there's a few things that are pretty obvious to look at, but also some that people may not be so familiar with or may not understand.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, we have to see that it's obviously a front engine car concept and the gearbox is in the rear. This is very important, and it's a differentiation to some of the other cars which have a different engine layout. So means the position of the engine is deciding the overall concept and aerodynamic concept of the car. And the aerodynamics is a very important piece of an overall car concept to make it competitive. So you see, coming from the front to rear, very important is the aerodynamic once going over the car and the aerodynamic which is going under the car. So while the aerodynamic under the car is a very efficient way to achieve downforce, and this is what we want. And the car spec based on the base model, the road car, is defining more or less the drag. So means during the developing process, we looked in the perfect spot for the car where we achieved the most efficient downforce to drag ratio. And all this needs to fit in a given window coming from the FIA for the homologation for all competitor cars, where you need to be in a performance window based on weight and power and drag and downforce. So having said this, you see the front splitter.
Yep.
So it's a front diffuser.
Okay.
This divides the air coming from the front, going over the car and under the car, and below. It's like in the rear, there's a diffuser sucking the car in the front bottom and breathing it out behind the wheels. And all the air which is going over the car is going through our dive planes. And also the air outlets here, the louvres we see over the wheels, such tiny things are there to find the right balance from front to rear. While we are quite unrestricted in the rear, so with the rear wing we can produce more or less any kind of downforce. So the front is the limiting factor, so it means with the rear wing you can trim the car to make it drivable and to adapt it to certain conditions of the track. So to high-speed corners or more top speed on long straights, but also to rain, to dry conditions. So this is what our engineers are working for at each race.
You've touched on it already, but I wonder if you can elaborate a little bit on what changes need to be made from a road car and the other championship spec cars version of this to what we have here in the WEC.
So coming from the road car, there are quite a lot of efforts needed to make a GT3 homologated car out of it. So currently what you see, there's except of the wiper and the front lights and maybe the Mercedes star at the front, there's nothing left from the road car. All the exterior parts are out of carbon, they're special made, they're white body spec, so differentiate to the road car, but also suspension, engine and gearbox obviously, and also the electronics and all the safety equipment. It's all dedicated for this GT3 homologated model.
Do you think we can talk a little bit about what, in your opinion, makes this car look like a Mercedes? How do people know, apart from the big badge on the front, that this is a Mercedes?
I think you have to come to the front. So next to the obviously silver color, which made them to a silver arrow, I think it's the Mercedes-AMG styled grille. And this is something unique in the whole competitor field. Nobody else has. And this is what makes it to an AMG, and this is what we're really proud of.
And I think we actually do also have to touch on the livery, a special one since we're here at Le Mans. Can you just explain the history of this livery to me a little bit?
Yeah, we are really proud to be here on this platform after a while, and we took this into account, and together with our team Iron Lynx, we decided to bring all the three cars in this silver livery, which is aligned to our 1989 effort with the Sauber C9, when we've been last time successful here at Le Mans, and to have only silver color, and it's the original color also from those cars.
That's cool.
And all the sponsors aligned, and also our drivers aligned that we are only in a dedicated silver and black colors, so no other colors allowed on this car except of the mirrors to indicate the cars.
Tell them apart somehow. It's like having twins.
Yeah. But I think the car's looking stunning, and we cannot wait to see them sparkling around on the track.
We just come back up here because, if we may, I'd love to take a look inside the cockpit,
sure.
if that's okay. Okay, first things first, we've got to pull the steering wheel out because that's a very unusual looking steering wheel.
So here we are, that's the steering of our LMGT3. So we put most of the functions we put into the car, like traction control and ABS and so on. So we tried to have only the limited number of functions on the steering wheel for the driver to be focused, only those functions which they need while driving. So starting maybe with the most important one is the flash button.
Of course!
Sure, but it's common use. But then also the pit speed limiter button, which is also secured
Is that to stop it being accidentally knocked, presumably?
Exactly, but not also only for pit speed, also for full course yellow procedures and so on. And then we have here the start-stop button to start and stop the engine.
Yeah.
And in black, you see here with the 8 and the 3, this is page up, page down. This is to switch the pages on the dashboard for the driver to go to different kind of informations during its stint. Then we have here the neutral button to go into neutral, to select the gearbox into neutral in case it's needed. And drink, obviously, to get drink to the driver, and the radio communication button.
And then a few flaps on the back as well. Oh, just the two?
Yeah, just the two, because we have a standard clutch pedal, so there's no clutch on the steering wheel. So our drivers use their feet to clutch, as most of the people also use with their road cars.
Yes, true.
So it means we have the shift up and shift down button on the rear.
And actually, it's the shape of this that I think has really piqued my interest, because this is, as you say, it's very simple, it's a lot smaller. Do you know anything about why this is designed in the way it is?
Yeah, sure. First of all, the radius is very important, or the diameter, however you call it. Finally, we set up the diameter of the steering for the driver like this to have a perfect feedback in all kinds of corners, and also when you go to compressions and so on, that you always have the right initial feedback for the driver. That's why the diameter is very important. And other than that, it's just a design to leave as much space as possible in all kinds of angles to the dashboard. Because this is important for the driver when he's in turning in corners, that nothing of the steering wheel is blocking the view to the dashboard. So it means everything inside the car is made for ergonomics and to get the drivers all the information he needs.
So yeah, I think the most interesting part I want to touch on in here is perhaps this center console, because the buttons on here are quite unique compared to any other car I've seen.
Yeah, this is, as we said, for the steering wheel, we put a lot of functions to the center console. Because we think that not all functions are needed on the steering wheel, and we want to give this car a functionality not only for the pro drivers, which has to get used like a Formula 1 styled steering wheel, but also for gentleman drivers.
Yes.
They all need to work with it. They need to find their functions immediately coming out of their head when they get awake in the morning at 2 and jumping in the car. They know what to use and how to use it. More obvious is our safety concept, which is a very integral part of our car and of our philosophy at Mercedes-AMG, is to produce safe cars. And you see next to the FIA homologated roll cage, which is mandatory for all kinds of cars, we see here our seat case, which is designed like a small monocoque around the drivers. With a lot of side protection effects, and also the whole driver is surrounded by the carbon safety cell. And every driver gets an individual insert, which he has to change during the pit stop to get the best possible fit for it. And he can adjust the pedals, and he can adjust also the steering wheel to its own belongings.
So Stefan, we've spoken about it a little bit at the start, but just to wrap us up, can you talk to me a little bit about the relationship from Mercedes' point of view between racing and then the road cars, and how important the two are to work together?
Yeah, we as Mercedes-AMG, we have motorsport in our DNA. So we develop our cars on the legendary Nürburgring Nordschleife, and so we integrate other iconic race tracks and races all over the world into our concepts, and to gather information, to showcase what our products are made for, and to show competitiveness everywhere. And we are really proud, especially on this car, that we've been competitive, and we won 3 of the 4 big 24-hour races already with this car, with Daytona, with Nürburgring, and also with Spa. And now we are urgently waiting for a victory here in Le Mans.
I like the attitude. And finally, my favourite question, what is your favourite part of this car?
My favorite.
What's your favourite part?
My favorite part. It's the engine. So it's an outstanding engine. I think in the whole paddock you hear it, and everywhere it's the 6.2 liter engine, natural aspirated. So this is something unique, which makes this car quite special. And all our drivers say also this engine makes such a good drivability, and it's also good for mechanics and usage. So this is my favorite.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much for joining us, Stefan, and thank you for your insight. And thank you for watching. We will see you on the next episode of WEC Icons.